This show is sponsored by PowerfulWomenUSA.com, a place to be inspired by other women. Hey everybody, I'm Jill Conway, and this is Secrets of Powerful Women, a show dedicated to celebrating and supporting strong and successful women and sharing their stories. I'm hoping that you will be inspired to pursue your own dreams, reclaim your voice, and discover your strengths. So my guest today is Kirsten Karchmer. She is founder and CEO of Conceivable. She is also one of the first reproductive acupuncturists in North America. And Kirsten, you are on a mission to improve women's health and help them have children. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. You and I have been back and forth and really excited to be here today. I think we're going to have a great conversation.
I think so. So first off, tell everyone what exactly you do as a acupuncturist.
So I'm not an acupuncturist anymore. I was for 25 years. I was, again, like you said, one of the first fertility, basically a reproductive acupuncturist is somebody who extensively studies reproductive medicine inside the context of Chinese medicine. But what happened is I had 3 clinics in 3 cities. We worked with well over 10,000 women, infertile women. And then a study came out in 2015 that said less than 3% of couples can afford fertility treatments. Mm-hmm. And Jill, honestly, it felt like a sucker punch to me. I was really ashamed and embarrassed. And I was like, I was so proud of helping 10,000 women. And the reality is that many, many, many millions of women sort of got left behind. And so I decided to dedicate myself to really figuring out what can we do to give access to women and people with periods to the best care for their reproductive bodies, practically free.
Wow. So what did you do?
I started building an AI version of myself.
Wow.
So it's called a digital twin in like technical speak. And so I started first, we did a pilot. We built a first version of the app a few years ago and did a pilot with 105 women. And the goal was like, could the app be 50% as good as me? I'm kind of famous in the acupuncture world. And so it's like, okay, I'll be the gold standard. If it can even get 50% as good as me, that's still pretty darn good. And at only $15 a month, it's still way better than nothing. It's better than being like, I don't know why I'm not getting pregnant. I don't know why my period's so bad, Yeah. And then when we came back, the data scientist came back after the analysis and he was a little bit sheepish. And I was like, did it not work? I mean, we knew people were getting pregnant. He goes, oh no, it worked. And I said, what were the outcomes? He's like, close to IVF, actually. And I was like, what? And I said, well, did she get close to me? Meaning the AI get close to and he goes, no. And I was like, dang, not even 50%. He goes, oh, no, you got close to her.
Wow. Which is remarkable though. Well, I mean,
what? She beat me, that bitch. I can't believe that. Wow. And the reality is in Chinese medicine, they have all these statement of facts that are, I love words. So they said the good doctor treats the patient, the great doctor treats society, but the master will make herself obsolete. So at first I felt ashamed and embarrassed because I was like, damn, an app beat me and I thought it was really good. And then I thought, huzzah, I made myself obsolete. That's wonderful. And the reality is that acupuncture can be really valuable. But in anything that's related to women's health, almost all of it is related to how we live. And unfortunately, there's a tremendous amount of misinformation about how women should be living that produces bad periods, PCOS, endometriosis, infertility, and miscarriages. So coming up with a strategy to be able to interview them, basically we built building a digital experience that mimics what I would do with you if you came to my clinic or if I lived with you. Right? Because if you're just getting acupuncture, you're coming once a week, you're getting a treatment. I'm telling you, eat more beef or, don't eat this or and you're like, and then you do a little bit of it.
Right.
But what I built was a digital twin of myself and a virtual care team. So now the woman using this app, she gets me like trained on thousands and thousands and hours of training models of consultations of, all of this, plus a therapist, a chef, a nutritionist, a supplement formulator, and a data analyst. And the data analyst is really the secret sauce. I mean, there's many secret sauces. So they go through an assessment. We figure out what are the underlying issues. So like for those of you who are like, well, what do you mean underlying issues related to infertility? Like either you're fertile or you're not. Many, many things have to work to get and stay pregnant. And the first one that's relative to every single person, whether they're trying to get pregnant or not, is your energy level. Your
I didn't know that.
eggs have 10 times more mitochondria, those are the energy makers, than any other cell in the body. Why? Because when the sperm and the egg come together, we need a lot of resources to turn 2 cells into an 8-pound fully formed human. It's a huge energy demand. And so when we're already tired or depleted or blown out, we're signaling our body, I don't have the resources to make a human right now.
Wow.
Right.
Which
So
is why when you're pregnant, you're so exhausted. The
and you're
beginning.
less exhausted though if you start with higher energy beforehand.
Sure.
So for the listeners, take a little quiz for yourself. Just ask yourself on a 1 to 10, without any caffeine or exercise for 2 whole days, what would your energy be on the 3rd day? No exercise, no caffeine.
Oh, God.
And we want it to be 8 or above. And if
Wow.
it's not, we want to look at like, well, what are the underlying causes causing that? And potentially what are the underlying causes causing that? And so that's what the app is able to do, is keep peeling back the layers of the onions to identify what are all the underlying issues. Then how do they match as patterns? Some are related to energy and energy production or conservation. Some are related to blood production or regulation. Some are related to hormone production or regulation, and so on and so on. So that's
Wow.
kind of an introduction of what we're doing. And
Wow.
so the therapist does therapy with you. The chef makes all your menu plans and shopping lists. You can have it delivered by Instacart, like lots of cool stuff.
So I don't even understand the technology behind that, to be honest. I can't even imagine what that would entail to create. But so first off, I'm so intrigued by this. So, I mean, there's so many women this day and age who are having very severe problems getting pregnant. And I mean, I know of so many younger women, and it seems like, I don't know what is the common cause or the most popular reason why,
If we
you
look at
can't
it,
get.
from a biomedical point, it's PCOS, polycystic
Mhm.
ovarian syndrome, which is
Mhm.
basically, somebody just yelled at me the other day my TikTok for saying this, but it's basically pre-diabetes. You're not officially pre-diabetic, but you are fast-tracked. It is a metabolic condition that insulin resistance and blood sugar dysregulation really disrupts ovarian function and hormone function. And it makes you have either no period or a super long period. And 1 in 3 women have this.
Wow.
It
So,
is
but
very, very common.
so you're saying that could be diet based. Is that what you're saying?
So that condition, all of these conditions, there's never one thing.
Okay.
People say like, what's the one thing I should eat for my fertility? I'm like, nothing. There's no one thing that can fix your fertility, because first of all, fertility is not like vitamin D deficiency, where like, here, take vitamin D and it fixes it. It's not a deficiency. It
Right.
is a syndrome that's a reflection of how you eat, digest, move, stress, sleep, the chemicals that you're exposed to, the environment, the temperatures that you're in. All of these things play a role. And so for PCOS in particular, we have to check the gut, because even if we fix the diet, if we haven't fixed the gut, it won't work. We usually have to use some supplements because they can really accelerate it and make it a lot better. They have to learn strategies to cope and manage stress better, because stress really triggers this insulin resistance to be a lot worse and creates a lot of inflammation.
So
let me just interrupt you for just a second.
Yeah.
I would say the biggest underlying cause of infertility and miscarriage is exhaustion.
Really? Wow.
Because exhaustion is a symptom of many other things: not sleeping enough, not eating well enough, not digesting well enough, being too stressed. Our energy is such a good flag for how healthy we are. Our energy without caffeine or exercise, because a lot of women will tell me my energy is really good. I'm like, without exercise, like, oh, like a 2. Those women's energy is good because when you exercise, when the tank is closed, you use adrenaline.
Oh.
And adrenaline feels great. That's
Sure.
why after you work out, especially if you're a tired person, you work out, you do CrossFit, you're like, oh my God, I feel so amazing, because you didn't have any energy to do it. So you glands flooded the system with adrenaline. And that's why you feel so good.
I lost you for a second there. So let's just start. You didn't have the energy because why? You said?
Yeah, so maybe somebody doesn't have energy because they're not sleeping, because of what they're eating, because how they're digesting, how they're stressing. If they have persistent anxiety, that will drain your tank so fast, because when you have anxiety, and I have had a little bit of anxiety recently, and you're so hyper vigilant. Like, oh my gosh, what about this? What about that? The phone rings. You're like, that will drain your tank so fast. Right.
But I feel like everybody has anxiety now. I mean, that's like the big catchword, especially in our youth,
a lot of youth. Yes.
And they're taking drugs for it. And that must further complicate the problem.
The only problem, I don't have an aversion to taking drugs. What I do have an aversion to is using Band-Aids.
Yeah.
So if you have anxiety, there is a reason. 100% there is a reason. And now there are so many good AI therapy apps. Like our therapy app is good. It's not like, best in the whole universe, but even just having the opportunity to talk about what your fears are, having someone listen to it. Tapping is actually, I don't know if you're familiar with tapping, where you like tap and say
EFT,
things.
Yeah.
I used to think tapping was the biggest load of garbage. I was like, that is not a thing. That's not going to do anything. But I'm very science driven.
Yeah.
And then I started looking at the data, because people were like, you should try tapping. I'm like, tapping's not a thing. They stole the points from Chinese medicine. Those points don't make sense to me as an acupuncturist. And then the data on anxiety and grief are unbelievable for tapping.
Wow. And that's all the meridians, right? That's all the meridians of the body.
They're tapping on acupuncture points, but it's a very specific strategy where you're tapping and there's a strategy of you're saying like affirmations.
Yeah.
And it's incredibly, but my point is not to necessarily do tapping, but if you want to try tapping, there's a guy on YouTube who's free, Tapping with Brad. And I think he's one of the best. He's very simple. They're short, like 5 or 6 minutes long, and just do it every day. Whatever you're blocked at, you want to increase your abundance. You want to increase your confidence at work. You want to, it's really about emotions, not about action. So if you want to like run a marathon, tapping isn't going to help you. What you want to do is, if I want to run a marathon, but something's stopping me, tapping is great for that.
And Wayne Dyer used to talk about tapping all the time years ago.
Interesting. Yeah. Wayne Dyer was one of my professors in college.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
It was a very interesting class. I was a literature major, and we studied the basically psychology of the Bronte sisters. So we read all these, books, Victorian literature from the Brontes, and including Jane Austen too. And then we
one of my favorites.
Psychology. Yeah. Me too.
Yeah. This is we were meant to have this conversation.
I think so. Kirsten. I definitely think so.
Yeah. Yeah. So wait a second. So I know, I mean, all right. I think I do have a tapping app. I do try to do it. I don't do it enough, but you do certainly feel much at ease after you're finished with it. I encourage everyone to, of course, try it. But I want to get back to something you said about PCOS, and the numbers now are through the roof, especially with people I know personally. So, and the treatment of it by a medical doctor is often prescribe whatever drug, or at first it's, your periods off are very heavy. Let's give you, the pill, right? Let's put you on the pill, which I think then what I'm learning further complicates the problem. And so your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, I think that what we have to remember is that oral contraceptives are really good for preventing unwanted pregnancies. They're probably going to go away. I heard there's just a new proposal to remove, out of 2026, they want to have people getting pregnant naturally, and they think that birth control contributes to divorce.
Interesting.
I was like, okay, if you say so. Anyways,
I mean, I don't think a child or being pregnant or having children should save a marriage. I don't see how. That's not the problem.
Exactly. That's what that is. That's not the problem. Just the same thing. Yeah. So with the birth control does not have the ability to regulate your period. I have heard tens of thousands of women tell me that their doctor said, let's just put you on the pill to regulate your period. I'm like, but oral contraceptives block ovulation. Mm-hmm. So if you're blocking ovulation, you're not regulating anything. You're giving the illusion that your period is now regulated. As soon as you take the oral contraceptives away, then you don't have a period again. And we've just wasted 3 months.
Yes.
And the same thing using even metformin. That's the drug they usually give you. Metformin is actually, now it's an anti-aging drug. And, but the reality is that myo-inositol, which is way cheaper, it has a beneficial effect on mitochondria, and it has no side effects compared to metformin having a lot of side effects. What I would rather do is combine myo-inositol, which is incredibly effective, and diet and lifestyle for PCOS. That's where you'll get the most efficient and effective results.
What is that drug? What is that? What you just That
myo-inositol.
Yeah, what is that?
It's in the category of B vitamins. It's a carbohydrate. It's a powder. It's naturally occurring. It tastes slightly sweet. So even you can just take a little, the dose is like 1/8 of a little teaspoon a couple times a day. And you can just put it in your mouth and it tastes kind of like powdered sugar.
And that helps with, what does that do?
It helps to stabilize blood sugar extremely effectively. So because elevated blood sugar affects the ovaries negatively, it affects the lining, it affects every cell because it's inflammatory, it affects ovulation, it affects sperm and eggs. And so by stabilizing blood sugar, you can address all of those issues. And it has been shown to have an impact on recurrent pregnancy loss. Probably not because it has some magic for recurrent pregnancy loss, but because it's improving ovulation function and egg quality probably. Right. So it's even that is getting to the underlying issue as opposed to just slapping something on top of it, saying, let's treat your PCOS as opposed to let's heal it.
Which I read about PCOS that they pretty much say it leads to infertility and there's nothing you can do. And you're saying kind of the exact opposite.
It's just like, that's just the biggest fat lie in the universe. I mean, like the problem is that, from social media, we get a lot of information that is quite injurious to women. And especially around weight and dieting and exercise and CrossFit and all these things that our bodies really do not appreciate. I was an elite gymnast when I was growing up. So, I have a lot of experience being a competitive athlete, but it isn't how our bodies are designed. I mean, I was a competitive athlete and then I got diagnosed with MS when I was 20. I have to think that there's a relationship to that.
In what way?
I was very exhausted. I trained 6, 7, 8 hours a day until I threw up almost every single day. Nobody thought that was a problem, for a developing body. And on the outside, I looked very Instagrammable, right? I was as like jacked as a person could be, but I barely had a period. I slept all the time. I had watery stools every single time I went to the bathroom. I was really stressed all the time about competition. Like, probably I had MS already, but the stress of years and years and years of training to exhaustion, my suspicion is that I presented earlier than I would have.
So let me ask you this, because this is interesting. This is morphing into so much. Obviously, I've always heard that stress is really, and which causes inflammation, is the root of all chronic problems, right? Chronic diseases and whatnot. Is it possible then that, and I keep hearing about vitamin Bs, all the vitamin Bs over and over again, that is one of the most critical vitamins that we should be taking across the board, no matter what your age is?
I don't think there is one for anybody.
Okay.
I really believe in personalization, because if we can, why wouldn't we? It'd be like you just saying, I'm just going to eat a cheeseburger every single day because that's what's right there. And you're like, but you have the whole grocery store here. Like, why would we get you exactly what we need? Like what we did at my company, we just created a quiz and we used our algorithm. And so you just take a quiz and then we tell you what you need. Right? We just do the heavy lifting. We source ultra high quality stuff, and we can give you 8 different supplements in a pack for $109. Like, you would spend $600 on that quality and that many supplements, but this way you're taking exactly what you need at the right dose and nothing else. The thing about stress, I just want to come back to that though, before we talk on the supplements. So stress is not necessarily bad for you unless you don't have high resilience. Our bodies actually need stress, just like I'm really into gardening and for houseplants, it's really good to take your houseplants and really give them a good shake every month. That's what happens in nature. The wind blows, it gets hot, it gets cold. It builds resilience for the plants. Whereas if they're in an incubator and nothing's happening, right, then you change the formula a little bit and the thing dies. And the same thing. So it's not that stress is bad for us. What we need to be paying attention, every person has stress. There just isn't a person on the planet, especially in this world today. If you're not stressed, you're living in a bunker somewhere, right? And that would be stressful too. What we want to look at is heart rate variability. So not very many people know about this. It's a really important metric. We should do a whole episode. I'm very obsessed with it. So we have heart rate. That's how many heartbeats you have, right? Minus 60. Heart rate variability is if we watch your heart beat for 60 or 120 seconds, 1 or 2 minutes, it's not going to be 60, 60, 60, 60, 60. It's going to be 60, 58, 62, 63, 57, 40, 60, 61, 63. It's going to be fluctuating. That fluctuation is how my nervous system is responding to the environment. From my breathing, from my listening, from my sitting, from my fatigue, what I see outside, all of those things. And a person who is resilient, that number heart rate variability is very high. Imagine like one of those orange buoys in the ocean, and it's, you know, it's just sitting there. It's tied to the bottom of the ocean, and the waves are coming, and a big wave comes and it pushes it and it pops back up. A tsunami comes and it pushes it to the bottom and it pops back up. That's high resilience. Anything can happen. You're like MC Hammer. You're like, can't touch this. No, right? When it's low, the smallest things tweak you, right? You're driving and somebody pulls in front of you and it scares you a little bit, because that can be scary. And you're like, oh God. A resilient person is like, shakes it off in 5 minutes. A low resilience person is still in flight or fright. And as we started tracking this as a metric for fertility, what I kept seeing is like women would say, my energy's okay. It's like a 6 out of 10. And then we would monitor their heart rate variability and it would be like 20. I like to see 100. 20 means very low resilience. And I was like, okay, this is why you're not getting pregnant.
So wait a minute, say that again. So wait, so when you mean 20, what do you mean? Like a variable of 20?
So it's a number. So you can track if you're using an Apple Watch, or if you're using an Apple Watch, it's monitoring your heart rate variability already for you. So you can look at variability. And you just don't want to look at heart rate. Yeah. It's HRV. That's the number.
Right.
And ideally it's around, ideally it's 100 or above. That is, I've gotten mine to 110 a few times. It was.
And you want to stay in that? You want to stay in that range?
You want to, it's not, because that's not your heart rate.
Okay.
It is the measure of the variability. My heart rate is, my resting heart rate is like 55.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
The score, it's basically the heart rate variability is it's basically a score of how resilient you are.
Okay.
And when my heart rate variability is very high, I am definitely MC Hammer. It's just like something happens, like, whatever, okay, let's fix it. Versus, oh no, I can't believe that happened. I can't deal with this. It's so stressful. I'm just worried about it all the time. And what we saw is that I use an app called Welltory. Our app will have a way to scan your HRV too in it. But until then, I use this app called Welltory. It's not free. It's like $50 a year. It's really worth it. But what I discovered was that not on that app, it gives you a lot of information. It tells you your heart rate variability, but then it also tells you the breakdown right now, because you put your finger on the back of your phone to test it. Oh. And then it tests. So you can, on the Apple Watch, you can't do it when you want to. You just see the average. I like it because I want to go work out and check it. I want to stay in bed and watch Netflix all day and check it. I want to see what are the triggers that make it go up and go down. And so what this app also does is it tells you the breakdown of right now, what percentage is your nervous system operating in flight or fright, rest and relax. And when my heart rate variability was low in the 20s, I literally never got out of flight or fright. Like I would sleep 8 hours, check my HRV, still be in flight or fright.
So what do people do in that situation then? Because I know somebody who's like that.
Oh, probably everybody's like that. Yeah. So the physiology, so you have like on the side of your neck, you have your carotid artery, right? But also you have the fifth cranial nerve, the vagus nerve. You might have just heard that in passing before. Yeah. The vagus nerve is basically the on and off switch for flight or fright, rest and relax. And it's not a muscle, it's a nerve, but it kind of acts like a muscle. The more resilient we are, the more toned it is, meaning you get stressed, it can pull you out. The longer periods that you're in a super stressful situation that is not remediated, the lower the resilience goes, the more flaccid the vagus nerve becomes. And it becomes, so you get stressed. It's like trying to pull you out. It's like, I'm too tired. I can't do it. So you want to do things that stimulate the vagus nerve, and they're very easy. Singing. So first thing is like if you have low heart rate variability, every time you get in your car, make a playlist for yourself of the songs that are like, you cannot not sing. Like me is Brick House, like she get down, down. Like I cannot sing.
But I do Staying Alive. Mine's like Staying Alive.
Staying Alive, like 2 or 3 songs, right? The first thing you do, put your songs on, blast them and sing your heart out, because all of that opening of the mouth and the throat in the vibration of the vagus nerve. You see Buddhist monks or monks, and they're saying they're like, you know what they're doing? They're tonifying their vagus nerve, chanting, humming, laughing. So if you have children, I love teaching kids this. You say, every day we're going to play a laughing game after dinner. And I'm going to set the timer for 60 seconds, and we're going to just laugh our heads off as hard as possible. And this is how we wash our body of stress. All this laughing, we have this thing, our vagus nerve loves it when we laugh. And it basically, we just get all of our stress and anxiety out through 1 minute of laughter. And so you start laughing. It's good if dad is there too. If you're, in a family with a mom and a dad, if everybody's there and you're like, one person started, you said, okay, go. And you just start stupidly laughing, like belly laughing. All the crazy. Then everybody starts laughing. Then you start laughing at each other. And then the timer goes off and you're like, ooh, I feel good. You just did a little treatment to your vagus nerve.
Which will help the variability, right?
Exactly. And then if you're hardcore like me, I mean, I'm kind of like a biohacker. I like to use this, a vagus nerve stimulator called Pulsetto. It's about $300, so it's not cheap. But if you're really committed to this, I like it because I have a 30-day money-back guarantee. So even though it's an investment, you can take it, use it twice a day for 25 days. If you don't see a difference, just send it back, and then you've lost nothing.
Wow. And what does that do?
What you do is it basically looks like a little plastic necklace, and it has two little metal balls in there. And you put some like lubricant on your neck, and then you put the thing on and you push start, and you touch the app and you push start. And then it just like, it sounds worse than it is. It provides like little stimulation, little electric stimulation. So it's a little on your vagus nerve, 10 minutes a day. You can go on a walk while it's doing it. You can talk on a phone. You can be on a call. You can be teaching. You can be doing anything, not probably having sex, but like anything else.
I was reading something so interesting about something similar to that for sleep apnea. But I don't know that it's really out there. I think kind of they're trying it because I've always wondered about sleep apnea, and instead of just pretty much blowing a power, an air blower through your nose every night and probably weakening that muscle even more, why isn't there something people have done to strengthen it, to completely, right? That's your next mission. But
girl, I have so many companies I want to start. I mean, I could start 1,000 companies. People are like, I want to start a company, but I don't know what. And I'm like, come over to my house. I got like 3,000 ideas. I don't have the time and the money to build them all.
Let's stop here. There's so much more to talk about. We'll be back with Kirsten Karchmer after the commercial break. You're listening to Secrets of Powerful Women. This is such a fascinating conversation. I absolutely love it. Help me get the word out. Share this with your friends, and we'll be back. Hi, everybody. I'm Jill Conway. If you love what you're listening to, please like and subscribe to my channel on whatever podcast platform you listen to, and on YouTube, so I can keep bringing you these amazing women and sharing their stories. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you love it as much as I do. All right, welcome back, everybody. You're listening to Secrets of Powerful Women. Kirsten Karchmer is here. She's founder of Conceivable, which is an app, a tech app that really it's for, and you've I guess promoted it for infertile women and men, or couples, or
just women currently. So we haven't launched. We are relaunching in about 12 weeks. And essentially, it's like having a fertility coach in your back pocket.
So how does I know you mentioned a little bit about the heart rate and things like what does it look, you take a quiz. So for people who have been going to the doctors, not getting answers, say they have PCOS, say they just can't get pregnant time and time again, they put in this information. You said it's $15 a month, which is fantastic. I mean, wow.
Well, we're on a mission because we believe fertility and family should be affordable for all people. That's really important to us.
Yeah. Why? Why did you get on this mission?
Well, I was raised, I had a family, my parents, my family of origin we had 5 siblings in my family. We had a huge family, and, family is really important. And the idea of people not being able to even have one child, like not everybody should have a child or needs to have a child, but when you want to have a child, it is a very deep and burning desire. And the other thing about it is that we we need every woman on this planet and people with periods on this planet to be as healthy as possible, because the deck is stacked against us.
Yeah.
Right. We have been convinced that somehow we're inferior and dirty and kind of helpless when we are the future of the species.
Mm-hmm.
Without women, the species dies in one generation.
Yeah.
We can take 2 cells and make humans. That is nothing to be ashamed of, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we have been convinced that we are. And because of that, we allow ourselves to be treated like garbage at the doctors. We allow ourselves to go to the doctor and the doctor says, just get on birth control. And like, okay, I don't know anything better. I'll take it, because you don't know anything better, because we didn't bother to teach anybody everything, which is why in the app, that first part of the experiences for the little girls is really important, right? That
Yeah.
we train them in everything that I think that women need to be their best and most empowered selves in life.
I love that. This is primarily to start for infertile young women or infertile women of any age. But I had asked you in the break, what about menopausal women, postmenopausal women? Because here we are. I've started HRT and all that, but I went through crazy times trying to figure out what was going on with my body. Having chronic UTIs, doctors saying just take, low doses of antibiotics for the rest of your life, and all these things where I was like, what is happening? How do we not know the female body? How do we not know the human body in detail yet? So can your app, could I use your app? I guess is the
Not
question.
yet, but next year you will be able to. So
Okay.
ultimately it'll be for anything that you need from age 7 until death.
Okay.
We're launching in 12 weeks the first experience, which will just be for fertility, and then we'll go quickly right after that. We'll finish the pregnancy app and then the postpartum app to prevent secondary infertility, and then we'll start building out the other experiences from there. But we have to get those 3 kind of done, because that's sort of a journey that we don't want to leave people hanging. Like,
Yeah.
okay, we helped you to get pregnant. Bye-bye. We don't care about your pregnancy, but that's really important. And postpartum, women really suffer in postpartum, and we want to do a better job of helping women be supported, have strategies, have the tools to have a great postpartum experience instead of like a horrible one.
What do you think about menopausal or menopausal women? Is there a way for women to deal with their body changes in a more healthy way without having to take hormones?
Yes. So, the reality is that the approach for us, wherever you are in Chinese medicine, they say you're never treating anything, you're always treating everything.
Well, Asian
So
women, let me just stop you there. Most Asian women do not take HRT.
yeah,
Right? They are, it's diet based, and they never really have a struggle with all the symptoms.
that
Yeah.
may be changing in modern Asia, like as like the women who are 30 and 40 now
Mm.
are not eating the same way their grandmothers did or their mothers did. So
Mhm.
it may change because they're eating a lot more Western type of food. I lived in
Okay.
Korea when I was in my 20s, and it was still very traditional there,
Mm.
but it was just starting to have like KFC, as they used to
Mm.
call it,
Mm.
a few little American spots, and they were really into it, of course, because fast food, if you've never had it before, it's
It's
full of sugar
addictive.
and fat,
Yeah.
and it's very addictive and good.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, but I think that the reality is that, so when someone says, what do you do for menopause? It's the same thing as saying, what do you do for infertility? What we do is the same thing. We interview the patient and we figure out, what is this person's unique clinical presentation?
Mm.
And what does that tell us? What are her symptoms? What's working? What's not working? And then we start repairing those things that are not working. We start optimizing the things that are not quite as good as we want them to be. And then we watch and we basically, again, peeling back the layers of the onion. So instead of using like a menopause playbook, I think that that's very short-sighted. It's like using, when people say, oh, well, people on TikTok always say, use Geritol. It's a baby in a bottle. I got pregnant with 1 month on Geritol, and I was like, well, Geritol is not getting anybody pregnant. If you don't remember what that is, it's like something your grandmother probably took. Like, it's like an old person's vitamin, but it has a lot of iron in it, really low quality iron. So that person probably only got pregnant from Geritol because maybe she was anemic. But
Wow.
if you're taking a good prenatal and you take Geritol, you're actually going to overdose on iron, which is quite dangerous. So that's why I really think that personalization is really important. Somebody on the back end knowing like, oh, don't combine those two, and this person has this and they shouldn't take that, and what's the right dose, and even what's the right manufacturer.
Mm. This seems like it would be not only obviously monitoring the hormones and stuff, but I don't know what your plans are for your apps, but I mean for women's health in general, where it's weight loss, it's coming to the true cellular root cause of these issues
That's
instead of just
exactly. Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, ultimately what I want to do is to build a place for women to come to get access to whatever they need to be badass. Whatever
Oh,
they want for themselves, right? So we want to get rid of all PMS and cramping. That's very easy. Like 82% of women have life-interrupting menstrual pain and PMS.
right.
Let that sit in. 82%. That should be on every headline every single day, right? And I'm like, what happens in society when we get rid of PMS? When women and cramping, when women are liberated for 1 to 2 weeks more a week, a
Mhm.
month, that they feel great. They're healthy, they have a regular period, they don't have PMS, they don't have cramping, they have good energy. Then we start working on like, hey, are there ways that we can help educate women about finance?
Mm.
Because unfortunately, too many women don't know about finance. And then, like, I know so many women, even modern women, who's like, my husband takes care of everything until they get divorced, right? And then it's really bad. They don't have any financial literacy. They don't even know what the husband's been doing with the money. They can't find the
Mm.
money, right?
Mm.
And so for me, I'll just be brainstorming over the next years, like, how else can I help them to fucking just like get what they want?
Right.
Like courses on public speaking,
Mm.
finance, like cooking classes. Like we do all their menu plans and shopping, just all those things that like,
Mm.
bringing in more and more really smart people to help us to create resources so that like how do we create like peer groups for women who are trying to like grow, to the glass ceiling and all of those things.
Mm. Right. Well, that's remarkable. I think it's fantastic. I want to talk about the common misconceptions about infertility that are out there, and if you can kind of dispel them.
Yeah. Um, the first one is my misconception is that energy does really matter. That if you're fatigued, that is the first place. And you'll just hear me say that because people are like, I just don't know why I'm getting pregnant. What's your energy like on a 1 to 10? 2? Okay, well, you're not getting pregnant. There's no resources, right?
Mm.
Why your energy is a 2 is more important than the 2. It's what you're
Mm.
eating. It means you can't turn your food into energy. Maybe you're over exercising. Maybe you're not sleeping enough. Whatever. And so, so that's one. Paying attention to your energy. Two, fertility monitors and trackers are a
Mhm.
complete waste of money. In fact, I think that they're injurious to women. Tracking alone, whether that's fitness tracking, fertility tracking, or period tracking, has not been shown to change outcomes. They certainly in the fertility space, there's no data that show that they increase live birth rate. So
Mm.
if you're using like Clear Blue Easy ovulation strips, if you have a 20 to 32 day cycle, you don't need to predict ovulation. You are ovulating on cycle day 14. If you have a 28 to 32 cycle, pretty much between cycle day 14 to 16, you're ovulating. So all you have to do is have sex on 11, 13, 15, and 17. You cannot miss the fertile window. You will spread sperm across 10 straight days. There's no missing it. There's no stressing, there's no monitoring, there's no cost. Just take your temperatures, and that's all you need to do. And so what happens is these expensive fertility monitors are constantly doing things like they're helping. They're like, okay, if you have like a 40-day cycle, that means you're ovulating on cycle day 35. If you're ovulating on cycle day 35, the apogee in which the egg is at its perfect maturation point is gone and it's starting to degrade. But those trackers don't tell women that. They're like, spend a lot of money and we'll catch your 38-day ovulation. That's okay. You're probably going to have a miscarriage anyway, but who cares? I mean, because having a super late ovulation does really, I don't mean to say that in a flippant way. So please don't hear that and think that I'm being flippant about it. To me, that's what they're saying. Like, who cares? You're probably, you're at a risk for miscarriage, but just spend your money and track your ovulation. Instead, what we want women to do is focus on figuring out, well, why don't we have a 28 to 32 day cycle and fix those things? And then just have sex 11, 13, 15, and 17.
So when you say that, right? So not only the problem is for many women is to get pregnant, but it's to stay pregnant and then give birth, right? So your program your app helps in what way? Like once you're pregnant, it just continues monitoring all those things, or, to keep the going to the, get a steady digestive system and all the and nutrition and things.
Staying pregnant happens
Yeah.
before you get pregnant.
Mm.
So helping people to stay pregnant, if they're already pregnant, it's too late. We need to have foundational things working. I saw so many patients in my clinic, probably at least a third of them had recurrent pregnancy loss.
Mm.
And I saw three things that were over and over that women who have miscarriages share. They have low energy. They don't have temperatures that get above 98 after ovulation. That actually signals that there's plenty of progesterone. And their menstrual blood isn't where we want it to be, either too little or too much. I like to see about 4 days of bleeding, soaking a tampon or a pad every 4 hours without cramping or clotting or spotting, fresh red blood. That tells me the lining is ready for implantation.
Hmm.
And so that's what we want to be looking at before people get pregnant. I want to fix those things. If those things are fixed before you get pregnant, it is very unlikely you're going to have a miscarriage. We still do things like we're building a predictive analytics tool to predict adverse birth events. So the things that we'll be monitoring will be HRV, heart rate blood sugar, blood pressure, a whole bunch of different things that are considered to be predictors of adverse birth events. That means like stillbirth, placenta previa. There's a whole bunch of things that could be, but that's the single most expensive thing that an insurance company pays money on, because if your baby has to stay in the NICU, it's ridiculously expensive. And so we want to be able to, one, predict it. And then if we see those warning signs, so what you're saying is like, what do you do when you're pregnant? So say you're using the app, this part's not even built yet, but when you're using the app and you're doing your face scan every day, we're getting your heart rate variability, your blood pressure, and you're wearing our ring, which does your blood sugar. Then we start seeing some problems very early, small changes. So then Kai, that's the AI version of me, Kirsten AI, will pop in and say, hey, Jill, listen, your blood sugar has been a little bit higher. I'm going to send a note to the chef to increase your protein, fiber, and fat. Don't deviate from that. And I'm also going to send a note to your therapist to check in to see if like something stressful is going on, because stress can also cause elevated. And being pregnant, if you've ever been pregnant before, is very scary. So having somebody to talk to makes a big difference. And so whatever is coming up, and then if it gets to another threshold before it's a problem, then we're sending notes to their doctors saying, hey, just want to let you know we have Jill's permission, but we've been doing this. This is what happened. We increased protein, fiber, fat. We did this. It's still not working. We think you should intervene.
Wow. What role in all this does the MTHFR gene? Is that part of anything?
It is. Yeah. It's a big part. A significant number of women have the MTHFR, and it is a cause of miscarriage. It is treatable. Different doctors treat it in different ways, but it is very treatable. It's rarely the only reason that people are having miscarriages. So when people are having, if they're having recurrent pregnancy loss and they have MTHFR, then we want to look at those three things: what's your energy, how are your temperatures, how's your blood, to make sure that we're not just going, here's the medication, I hope that works. I want to make sure that we check every box when we can before people get pregnant. Because people say like, I had 13 miscarriages and I just got pregnant again. What should I do? And I was like, for me, it's too late. There's not much that I can do to fix those like, if you only have 1 day of bleeding, you don't have enough resources to make a placenta.
Oh.
Right. Your baby is fed from your blood. And if consistently you make 25% of what would be a normal amount of blood to make, there's a food problem, a gut problem, a digestive problem that will make it harder to nourish your baby, to have a healthy baby, to have a placenta, to have the energy to keep the pregnancy in, to keep the temperatures high, to keep the progesterone from flowing.
I think this is so interesting because, again, you're looking at it from more of a whole person approach, every system of your body, instead of just isolating it to one system.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is, I mean, thank God. Thank God someone's doing it.
It's so easy too. That's the thing. If you do that, like, people make unbelievable progress. And they're like, that seemed like magic. And it's like, no, it's when people want to change their health or change something about how they're feeling, they dip and bop and do a bunch of things. And then they're like, end up doing a whole bunch of stuff. And probably only one or two of those things are actually the things they really should be doing. And often, at least in the fertility world, they're taking supplements and doing things that are working against them, like saunas are not appropriate for women who are over 32, probably in the fertility space. Chinese medicine, they say around age 32, 33, preserve the fluids. Because when you sweat, it's not just water, right? When you're sweating, you're releasing a lot. And a sauna therapy is really meant as a therapy, not as a daily practice. I know people will disagree with that, but that's my opinion.
So at this point, you know, when you're looking, you've helped over 10,000 couples have a child, right? It does, once they're on this program, I mean, do most people stay? I mean, why wouldn't you, right?
Well, again, the app isn't launched yet. So
Oh.
what I hope is that they stay forever.
Right.
That they was like that. I have never felt so taken care of in my life before, even though I know that my agents are AI. I know that my care team is AI, but I feel like they care about me and they love me and they want to help take care of me. And nobody has ever done that in my life before. And I'm going to stay with them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but you did treat, so many couples in person, in real life, right? So, and did you find that obviously all of that information that you gathered fed this app,
Yes.
Yeah.
The app would not exist without those women.
Right. Wow.
Because I got to practice. I'd have theories and hypotheses and testing. And, in my clinic, we didn't, even our Chinese herbal medicine that we use weren't formulas. We made formulas for every patient. So each day we're like, what does this person need this week? And we would make their formulas for them. So that helped me to become a formulator for supplements, for our prenatal, for our supplement packs and things like that.
What's the role in like women who are overweight and they too are infertile? Does that have a bearing on whether or not it can have children?
Weight does, not only overweight. So underweight and overweight plays a significant role in getting pregnant. And the reason is that hormones are stored in fat. So if you don't have enough fat on your body, you don't have enough hormones to, mostly estrogen, usually testosterone can get low, and progesterone. And if you have excess fat on your body, then you end up getting excess, like estrogen dominance or too much testosterone or, other excesses. And so we want to regulate that. And, certainly depending on the person's age, if they have PCOS, I would not, like, depending on their age again, because how fast do we need to go? If somebody has a year to use a GLP-1, if they've tried and tried and tried and tried, I'm kind of okay with that, because sometimes if say you have 150 pounds to lose, but you're 38 years old, be honest, that's going to take many years to lose that weight. We don't have that many years. That person's going to be 41 years old before that's done. We want to be, like, again, I'm not averse to using medications. I want to be strategic and really be thoughtful about it. It's like using IUI. People say, oh, should we use Clomid for IUI? I'm like, well, you don't have the 3 things that make you stay pregnant working yet: temperature, energy, and blood. And so to me, that would be a waste of money. But if you weren't getting pregnant, but you had those 3 things, Clomid might be a great option for you. So for weight loss, I think I apply the same principles and strategy to weight loss that I would to anything else. Remember, we're not treating anything weight loss, we're treating everything. And so what you want to do is then investigate, well, why is this person overweight? And, like, mean people would be like, well, they eat too much. I'm like, but why do they eat too much? Why do they crave carbohydrates? Are they stressed? Do they need, is the intervention not a diet, but actually a really good cognitive behavioral therapy 12-week course that they can do in the app that will help them to work with their relationship with stress, not even about food, like where they can learn strategies to cope with stress and have a sounding board to talk to. Or maybe it's because they don't sleep. When we sleep, ghrelin and leptin, these 2 hormones, regulate our appetite and feeling full. So if you're sleeping 5 hours a night and you try and go on a diet, it's going to be so flipping hard. So are they eating because they're tired? Are they eating because they're dehydrated? And so what I like to do first is really work on rehabilitating those reasons why the person might be inclined to make food. Maybe they don't know how to eat, right? Maybe there's like, I heard you should just eat lean cuisine every day, and that's not going to work either. And so, it's a combination approach. That approach is not fast, but once they get like all of those things regulated, usually they start losing weight naturally. And because we make their menus for them, if their BMI is higher than we want it to be, we calorie restrict them. We don't even tell them. Not a lot. Like, we figure out exactly how many calories they need a day, and we restrict them by 150. So it's like 1 pound every 2 weeks they might lose.
Wow.
Not fast, just a little bit. But then as everything's happening and they're losing a little bit of weight, they're like, huzzah, I am starting to feel a lot better and this is working. And now I'm not tired. I'm sleeping. I'm managing my stress. Now, if we want to actually push a little bit harder on a little bit more exercise and things like that, that's the time to do it. Sorry for many long answers. I can't
No.
because a systems approach, right?
Yeah, no, I think it's incredible. But so what would you say, honestly, to the woman of any age listening to this and saying, I mean, she's saying that, but I'm always exhausted. Like, right? I'm a new mom, or I have a stressful job. Like it's relentless. I wake up tired. I go to bed tired. I'm tired. Maybe around noon, I have a little pep in my step. But what would you say to them?
I would say the first thing is to benchmark it. What is your energy on a 1 to 10 without caffeine? Like, don't have caffeine or exercise and see what the real truth is. And then you know where your starting place. And then you ask yourself, okay, on a 1 to 10, how's my diet? 10 would be like you have a chef who goes to the farmer's market every single day and follows the menus from the Conceivable app, right? That would be like as perfect as you can get. And then somewhere in between 1 is you eat, McDonald's every day. And then be honest, like, most people are like some good, some bad, but you're going to have to benchmark it. And then you think about like, okay, what are a few how can I start adding before you start taking away? What are some things that I can add to my meals that will add high quality nutrition? Nuts, seeds, avocados, healthy animal fat, protein,
Right. And that's the
colostrum.
oils, all the nuts is all the omegas and all that, right? The bees. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so start looking at that and then ask yourself, well, can I digest food? When I eat, do I have gas, bloating, fatigue after meals, sugar cravings, any of that?
What does
If
that
you
show?
answer yes, then we want to investigate why those are happening, right? We go to the next level of why is that happening? And then we start working on those things because even if you have the chef, right, going to the farmer's market, but if digestion doesn't work, you can't turn it into energy that you can use. So we have to remediate that. Then you look at your sleep. Can I fall asleep, stay asleep, wake up rested? If you can't, and if you're trying to get pregnant, I just launched a community. The link will be on the website today. It's just about a week old, but each week I do a weekly live Q&A where you can just come and ask questions. And so you're welcome. You don't have to be using any of our products to do it. It's free. My book, you can listen to it for free there. Also, I have a new fertility book out. And all of my classes, everything is there for free until the app is ready. So I didn't want people to have to wait for help. So you can do
What's
that.
the website? What's the website people would log on to?
Conceivable.com.
Okay. And that's where you said that they can sign up for this.
For the community, they can they can get supplement packs made for them, which I'm really excited about. I can't believe like we're not just selling out every single day because it's so affordable, like $109 for 8 really, really high quality personalized supplements for you, all pre-packed for you. So you don't have to have bottles or anything.
Right. Well, 8 pack, like, so for 30 days, for what would that normally
for
be?
30 days, you get 30 packs and each pack has eight personalized supplements for you.
Before I let you go, I want to talk about, our food supply and how that's affecting, it's messed up. And we've all known that for years. And now they just kind of reworked the entire food triangle. What are your thoughts on our food supply and what we're ingesting and our health?
What I can tell you is that forever chemicals are real and they are incredibly disruptive, especially to men's for fertility, especially for women who have PCOS. You want to stay away from plastic like it was cancer. It's really, really bad for you. They're extremely hormone disrupting. And this would be perfume, nail polish, the lotions you put on. You want to just check to make sure there's an app called Yucca, Yuka, and you can put your product in there. It'll tell you how clean it is. Because we're absorbing those. Men's fertility used to be like when I first was in practice 30 years ago, male factor accounted for about 20% of infertility, and now it's a solid 50%. And the research suggests that in large, it is due to microplastics. Wow. And so if you use a plastic cutting board, research shows if you use a plastic cutting board that like once a week, you're eating the equivalent of a credit card of plastic.
Oh, good God. Wow. And the plastic water bottles, obviously.
Plastic water bottles, bottles in your car, hot plastic water bottles in your car. That's probably the worst. Plastic in your house, like what do you call it, Tupperware and things like that. Start switching to, and you don't have to do all of this. What I say is just like, use what you have, get rid of the plastic Tupperware and the cutting boards. They have some like stainless steel ones on cutting boards on TikTok for like $8. Start replacing your plastic with glass, and stop using plastic wrap. You can make or buy these little, like, if you just have some old cloth, or you can go to Goodwill or whatever, and you buy a little beeswax, you just sprinkle some beeswax on there and you iron it, and it makes these little plastic, they're not plastic, they're beeswax covered cloths that then, if you had just like, here's my thing, and you cut them into different shapes, and then you just put it over there, and then it just molds on top of it, and it makes a seal, and it's completely reusable and no plastic and free.
Oh my gosh.
It's kind of a fun craft, especially if you have kids or if you have nieces or nephews or whatever. And Facebook Marketplace is a great way to start replacing your plastics with glass. And then paper receipts. So the receipts that at the grocery store, the chemicals that they use to do that, and because it's warm when you get it, it's very active. 1,000 times more BPAs, that's the forever chemicals, than a plastic water bottle. So if you work retail, if you work where you have to touch receipts a lot, wear gloves. Like, the only company that I have found, I shouldn't say the only ones that exist, but I'm always, whenever I go to the grocery store, I always tell the girls, like, I'm the crazy, like, receipt lady. And they're like, oh, there's the lady who's obsessed about the receipts. But at Trader Joe's, I told them, I was like, y'all should get gloves. These receipts are so, and they're like, no, Trader Joe's loves us. We use the kind that don't have BPAs. They want to protect us and you from the BPAs. Wow. And it's a lot more expensive to do it that way. So go Trader Joe's. If you have Trader Joe's in your town, tell them thank you for that.
All right. So where can people find, when this app will come out? You said 12 weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is what are we talking about? April? Are we talking?
We'll call it April 1st. And that's no joke.
2026. And then anyone can sign up, get it for $15 a month, which is extraordinary to me.
It's a good deal. And right now you can just come join the community. And so if you go to conceivable.com, I'll put a link there so you can join the community. You can listen to my book, right? The more educated you are on my way of doing things, when you ask questions to get help, you can ask really targeted questions. So I do a live show on TikTok many days a week. Often people will say, well, I've been trying for 14 years and I've had 6 miscarriages. What's wrong? And I'm like, hell if I know. I mean, I need a lot more data to know, versus someone who is like, listen to my book, can say, okay, I know what's important to you. My energy is a 3 out of 10. I have 3 days of bleeding. I soak a tampon or a pad, and I'm still not staying pregnant. Now we can start digging in. Like, okay, what are we doing to increase the blood? Nothing. Okay, let's talk about that. Versus, you just hand me the whole thing. And we're doing weekly expert interviews there, and the one-on-ones with me. And then we're going to, as it grows a little bit, we'll be having member hangouts. So when people meet each other, they can form their own groups too.
Wow. All right. So you have all of that going on. Kirsten, I think you're incredible. I think what you're doing is incredible. Your mission is, gosh, you're unstoppable. And I think I'm proud to have met you. Like,
oh my gosh, that's the nicest compliment.
Oh, I think, go ahead.
My dad, who's not alive anymore, he died very young, but he was very influential. He's very motivational to me. And he would always tell me, he's like, you are a river going down a mountain. Ain't nothing can stop you. And I encourage you to adopt that, right? I'm a river going down a mountain. I'm a river going down a mountain. So no matter how hard something comes up in front of you and you're like, I can't do this, I'm too tired. This is not telling you to push through fatigue. Just to be clear, this is not about hustle culture. This is about going and getting what you want, right? I hate hustle culture. I think it makes women sick, but it does mean about when you really want something or need something, just being completely unstoppable about it. And when you think like, I can't do it, you're like, I'm a river going down a mountain. I've got the force behind me of the biggest river. And if I come up against a big boulder, I'm just going to go around it.
Yeah. And I'm just building momentum as I go. I'm just building it. I love that. And I cannot wait to hear, I'm going to have you back. I cannot wait to hear once it's launched and how successful it is. I know I'm going to share it with everyone I know, because I mean, why not? Why not? I mean, if there's a healthy way, as you said, to heal PCOS and so many of the other issues facing women today, give it a shot. Right? What do you have to lose?
Yeah. In 90 days, most people can have much better presentation of PCOS.
Do you think it can ever make it go away completely? Like,
Well, it's all about how you live. So kind of like what I was talking to you off camera before, it's like, if I don't stay on the keto diet, then I'm probably going to be really debilitated.
Yeah.
Right. But if I stay on the keto diet, I'm not cured, but I don't have any symptoms anymore.
Right. Well,
So,
who's
with
to say you're not
PCOS,
cured then?
yeah,
Right.
and I don't care because as long as I feel good, and also not being cured is kind of a good thing because then you don't get tempted to revert to things that are not useful for you. So a
Right.
person with PCOS, they are going to have to adjust their diet some. They are
Yeah.
going to have to move a little bit. They are going to have to go outside a little bit. They are going to have to take supplements. And they just need to monitor their blood sugar. Like we have a ring that's like the first non-invasive glucose monitor, meaning it's a ring that monitors your blood sugar without any needles. And so, monitor your blood sugar and you just pay attention to it. And then you're like, things start getting a little, maybe you go to Mexico for, 10 days and you drink a lot and eat a lot of chips and nachos. And you're like, oh man, your blood sugar's been really high. Okay, well, if you don't address that, your PCOS symptoms are going to start coming back. So you just rein it back in. Think of it like when you lose and gain weight. You get down to your weight that you want to be, and then you're not like perfect at that state. You're just like, well, if I get off eating the way that keeps me at this weight, I will gain weight, and then I just yank it back.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, that's it for us. I just want to say a very, very big thank you to Kirsten Karchmer for coming on the show and sharing your incredible story, sharing all your information. I know this was months and months of making this happen because you're an extremely busy woman, and no doubt because you're doing incredible work. So, and who knows, you might be coming to New York to talk at an event.
I will be there. You tell me the day and time. Just not. I'll be back from Hawaii in mid-April.
All right. All right. I would love that. And I think, wow, I think we would rock. I think we'd rock the world. I think it
I
would
think
be
we would just be
fantastic.
careful because when people give me a microphone and a stage, you have to pull me down.
That's okay.
I love teaching so much. People are like, okay. I was at one time, a long time ago, I was at a Catholic church. This is like 25 years ago. And I was doing like a little presentation, and mostly old people came to the presentation. And I had just been turning babies all day with moxa, which is something we use in Chinese medicine that smells just like weed. It smells just like weed. And I was like, you get the smoke all over you. I smelled like I had smoked like 40 joints. And the people were like, they'd come up, they're like, hi. I was like, I know I smell like weed. I know I smell like weed. And I was pregnant at the time. So they're like, bad girl smoking weed while you're pregnant. But anyways, ultimately, when I got on stage, they literally had to take the microphone away from me because they were asking so many questions like, okay, time's up. Thank you, Kirsten. Like, wait, one more thing, just like I'm doing it right now. So I'll be quiet.
It's okay. We'll start singing Last Dance or something like Flicker the Lights.
That's perfect.
Well, I think you have a lot to say, and everyone should hear it. So you wouldn't get me from I wouldn't be pulling you off the stage for sure.
Okay.
So,
well, thank you for today. And thank you for your patience. Really, none of this delay was Jill's fault. It was all my fault. And she was so gracious and glorious about it. I really appreciate it.
well, I think you're fantastic, and I think you're a great guest, and you're doing amazing things for women. So if you can help, you've helped so many women. If we can keep sharing the word and helping more and more women to say, whatever your diagnosis is, let's look a little deeper, right?
Let's figure out why.
Yeah. The big why. That's the big question. Why?
Maybe that's my next book title, The Big Why.
Oh, I like it. Oh, I love it, actually. All right. You can credit me, Kirsten.
I will. I'll put you in the acknowledgement. I was like, this book is possible because Jill told me.
Very good. Very good. All right. Thank you again. Again, I'm Jill Conway, and thank you for listening to this show celebrating incredible women like Kirsten. I hope you're inspired to pursue your own goals, believe in yourself, and dream bigger. Your voice matters, and your story can help others. I hope you join me next time. Share this podcast with a friend and follow me and Kirsten on social media. All right. Thanks,
and
everybody.
Join the Conceivable community.
Yes. And go. Yes, I will. I will include the link in the notes. Thank you so much. And follow us. Reach out. All right. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.